Welcome to Movie and a Beer, everybody. This is Dan bringing us in, and we have some amazing co-hosts and friends with us tonight on this kind of really warm afternoon, evening-ish activity.
Toasty. Warm
summer. We had some warm food, and then we came back and we watched a warm old movie.
I eated a jalapeno.
You eated a jalapeno. And just like they did in Who Framed Roger Rabbit, which is what we watched.
Oh, dude, you gave it away.
I gave it away.
Now all our expertise is going to be like just...
Not really.
But what is your expertise, though?
Well,
who are you?
Let us know.
All right, dear listener, my name is Aaron. I am your
Are you?
Dwight D. Eisenhower National System of Interstate and Defense Highway expert.
Oh, there you go. Because the 4-leaf clover company.
Up top.
There you go.
Booyah.
That's very good. I'm Blake. I'm your cartoon expert. That's just legitimate. Like, that's not even a bit. I probably know the most about cartoons here.
And I'm Brian, your Bob Hoskins expert.
Yeah, dude.
Bob's got it going on.
He's British and he goes by Bob. That's amazing.
We saw a lot of Bob Hoskins in this movie, including
Bob's your
without
uncle.
a shirt on and lots of.
I do have a Bob
close-ups.
uncle.
He even kissed a tune a few times, which was seductive.
I would
No,
say that's who
no.
kissed him.
Actually, no. He did kiss Roger at the end.
Yes, he did.
Oh,
and
yeah,
so this,
he
this
did
movie.
that out of spite, though. He did that with
He's doing
a
for a
spite.
bit. He's doing a bit. He's coming around.
Okay.
He's recovering from losing his brother.
We tried to do the math and figure out when this movie came out. So like June of 1988. So that was what?
Yeah.
35 years ago.
A long time ago. This is an old movie. So
Well, it
I guess
feels old.
old enough for us to spoil, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, I just said
Oh,
that
yeah.
something happens at the end. It's
yeah.
like everyone knows at this point.
Well, being a highway expert means something's going on.
Yeah. So
Forget it, Jake. It's Toontown.
for those that haven't seen Who Framed Roger Rabbit, this was put out by Steven Spielberg.
Yep. Robert
And
Zemeckis directed.
Bob Zemeckis, and this includes cartoons from the Warner Brothers side of the house, as well as
Disney.
Disney.
and
Probably a couple of originals.
Hanna-Barbera, and some originals.
This might be one of the few things where you can see Bugs Bunny and Mickey Mouse interact. Like
It's-
the-
I think
on
it's the only
screen at the
thing.
same time.
The only other thing before there were two, we'll make you short. Before there were two major conglomerates that owned everything. The only other massive crossover event was the Dare video where like Michelangelo from the Ninja Turtles, Buster Bunny from Tiny Toons, and a bunch of other cartoons from like 90s, afternoon cartoon fame were stepping in to keep a kid from getting high on pot.
Oh,
That's a legit thing. It's not good.
That worked.
But everyone my age remembers like, oh yeah, that cartoon.
I don't remember that
Yes.
cartoon. I remember McGruff the crime dog.
Oh no, we had that too.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So we were going to watch this older movie, and I was like, instead of going and buying new beers, let's pick some older beers out of the beer fridge. And we'll talk about those in a little bit. The first one was a little dank and old and stale. The second one, not so bad. But, it's got a rooster on it that has a Carmen Miranda hat of hops, and it's kind of funny.
It is pretty fun.
Yeah, so it kind of fits with the movie a little bit.
The visual
Very
fits.
cartoonish.
Yeah.
But, so Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Please explain.
It's a movie.
So sorry, I was looking at what Betty Boop was from. Fleischer Pictures.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week.
With the actual synopsis of Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
no, with a different movie.
So
No,
a private detective,
yeah,
Eddie Valiant.
Eddie Valiant having lost his brother
to a tune.
To a tune.
A tune killed his brother.
Who talked like this?
Oh, I should say
is it
Knives that came out of his eyes.
Yep.
Well,
Just,
there are
creepy.
tunes. We
Creepy
need to start
villain.
that there are tunes in the universe, and they're like
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
interact with.
So this film was cutting edge in the fact that it mixed both the animated with live action.
Yeah.
right.
Acting.
like to a degree that hadn't been done since Mary Poppins, because
Right.
that was pretty minimal. It was people on a soundstage. Here, it was a live stage, and then they went in afterwards to animate the hippo knocking the guy over.
Right. Well, Bob Hoskins like punching and being punched by a tune, and he sells it.
Oh no, he does a phenomenal
Well,
job.
and Jessica Rabbit ruffling his collar and
Yep.
taking off his coat.
knocking his hat, pushing a hat in his face.
Well,
and-
yeah.
Not just her hat; she was pushing her other parts in his.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
too.
you,
So-
you could actually see the effect of the cartoon on
Yeah.
his clothes.
Well,
on his
and his
wardrobe.
hat would move and stuff, and that
The-
was actually really
and-
well done.
Looking at the trivia for this, he was looking at nothing. More recent, like circa 2001 and on, there's mocap suits. There's like tennis balls hanging to where like you can see where your eye line should be going.
Right.
And in an interview, Hoskins was saying, I felt towards the end I was going mad because I was yelling at nothing for several takes. So it's at a certain point, it drives a man mad.
Right.
But he did great. It was a great buddy cop movie, sort
Yeah,
of. It's
kind of.
it's a noir mystery.
Yeah,
Very similar
1940s,
to
right?
Chinatown. Like there's a whole
Like,
there's a whole side plot involving powers beyond Eddie Valiant as he's
Yeah.
solving this one little crime of who's framing Roger Rabbit.
So it's like 1940s LA.
Yeah.
1947.
Yeah, we've hang out with tunes in L.A.
And the cars, the environment, the cartoons are from that era. There aren't any
Yeah.
new ones.
And
It's just what
the-
was up to that point.
The
Yeah.
ties.
Yeah,
Very, very
the
short,
fashion was
small
accurate. There
ties.
was public transportation before, and it's a bit telling, before big money shut it down to put freeways in.
Yeah.
Yes, and boxers, not briefs, and
And short ties.
and very
Short ties.
and a lot of suspenders.
A lot of suspenders.
I noticed that too. Yeah.
Yeah, must have been a thing.
back when men were men.
And like trench coats.
Lots of trench coats.
Dudes who were just dirty and didn't wash up before going to the bar.
Real guns and fake guns. What happens if a tune gets shot by a real gun? Probably nothing because they don't get hurt.
He probably gets thrown back and knocked into something that then causes a Rube Goldberg machine of more comedy.
Well, yeah, they addressed this in the film. There was only one thing that can kill a tune.
Acetone.
It was
Acetone,
the acetone turpentine.
paint thinner, and paint thinner
Yeah,
or bearer or
something.
something. Like
Yeah.
basically this horrible
It was
thing
called the dip.
And listeners, let me tell you, there's stuff that just imprints on you when you're young. Watching a cartoon shoe get dipped screaming into stuff that kills it stuck with Blake for a while.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
that
it
was
was-
hard to watch.
It was hard to watch now.
So I mean, there was a lot of suggestive, going over children's heads kind of humor and visual.
Oh, come on, Dan. You've
puns.
played patty cake with someone before.
I'm like, come on. It's like,
Yeah,
wow,
there
this
was-
is not necessarily a kid's.
We're all
only
grown
movie.
men.
There was a lot of double entendre. In
Yes.
So
Sometimes triple. And I go flying through
this,
the wall.
this was rated PG, but I think like I mean the one you'll get a lot more out of it if you understand like the history of animated
Oh yeah,
film and culture.
and just like life in like Hollywood and L.A. Like Toontown feel. I guess the vibe is supposed to be like it's like a little Tokyo or a little Italy, where it's just where all the tunes kind of settled.
Well, and I think you really only understand the true horror of the nemesis in this film if you're old enough to have a commute on a freeway.
God.
Yeah.
Everyone in this room laughed when he said, "No more traffic jams are a thing of the past," and everyone cracked up.
Right, and we understood it was diabolical. If you're a kid, it won't land in
Oh
the
no,
same
I
way.
genuinely remember thinking, "Why is he still talking? Where's Roger?"
Yeah, right. But I'm gonna say,
And
Roger Rabbit annoys me.
Oh no, yeah, he's awful.
He's meant to be annoying. He's meant to be that really
he
stupid
is-
annoying, but he does
but
have
but
feelings.
he makes women laugh, and women
does.
love a guy who makes them
and
laugh.
that's what it's all about.
Betty Boop was jealous of her, of Jessica Rabbit.
Well, I mean, as a tune, I'm sure other tunes find it like Roger Rabbit attractive as
Yeah.
a man, as a tune man.
I have a question, but before that, I want to point out I appreciate that they were watching like a comedy short where Disney had that they did for a while with a narrator as Goofy's getting just thrown around the room. It's like, the fine gentleman in an early morning as he's like stretching and flying through a wall. And he points out, oh boy, he's a real professional. Goofy's great.
Well, it's like 80%.
He's
of
a master of his craft.
Yeah, exactly.
80% of this humor though is like slapstick or like the other early like cartoon of
Like wordplay a little bit.
a little. Actually, the wordplay is what I liked the most because like the wordplay was smart.
It was kind of witty. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas the tune violence was really very slapstick and over the top.
Right.
And
I'm okay admitting I was the one who laughed the most of this movie.
that's all right.
Well, I mean,
my
okay,
dad raised
so
me on Three Stooges.
The first time that Christopher Lloyd came on the screen as Judge Doom, I was
God.
like, "We're going back to the future." I mean, that's what I yelled out loud because I'm like, "That's all I know." It's like, holy.
Great Scott, this dip is disgusting.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
And then, of course, Blake had to remind me that he's been in other stuff. He was in
Yeah, he's in Nobody.
He was in Nobody as the
Which is
father.
much later, but yeah, he's in Nobody.
Oh, he was awesome in that.
Well, the acting in this is phenomenal throughout. I
Yeah,
think.
well, and there are some
Hoskins.
A-list actors in this.
Oh,
Bob
yeah.
Hoskins, Christopher Lloyd,
That one woman from Blade Runner.
Joanna Casti,
Yeah.
who
Is that-
also was in Blade Runner.
Is she the one who played Dolores?
Yes.
God,
Yes.
Dolores
Yeah.
is great.
Yeah, she did a great job.
And then that's kind of the three key players. I liked RK Maroon. Like you see him,
Maroon.
you see him twice. And you see
Yeah.
a decent range
Well,
of
and
like.
then
I don't
there are the voice actors who did Jessica and Roger.
And I think the
And
voice
the
acting-
car.
Betty Boop. Yep, the car had a big
voice
Baby
acting
Herman.
was good too.
Yeah,
Baby
Baby
Herman.
Herman in the car. I mean, good supporting roles.
Good
Did they get
voice
Oscars for
actors.
those supporting roles?
I don't think so. I think people were just like, "Oh man, what a cool concept!" It did well, I think, but it was probably so cost prohibitive because you have Warner Brother at the time, Warner Brother and Disney characters on screen at the same time. That was unheard of. They're like, oh my, it didn't happen.
Yeah, they're competitors, not
Yeah.
they would never collaborate.
Which I like that you saw in a scene where Eddie's falling for much longer than he should have been falling.
Yeah.
And you see Mickey interacting with it's very Disney style. He's interacting with the air. He's moving as if he's falling through the air, which is a big Disney thing. It's like studying how physics actually works in a cartoon. Whereas Bugs is sitting flat as if he's on a bed, just having a full on Marx Brother style. Just I'm having fun with the space.
So if we're talking success, budget estimated $70 million.
Oh, wow.
Gross
It's 88. Oh my
gross
god.
U.S. and Canada 156.
What?
Gross
Double
worldwide
the money.
329.
Good for them.
So
Quadrupled the money.
It made decent money. I mean, it's not
Financially
like Spielberg
successful.
really needed it, but
I think at that point he was doing pretty well for himself. He Spielberg was like the name for most of the 80s.
Indiana Jones was already out
Yeah.
by this point,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
Indiana Jones, Jaws, oh god, the Alien movie. Help me, Brian.
E.T.
No,
Close
not
Encounters.
Thank
Close
you.
Encounters of
Close
Close
Encounters,
Encounters.
E.T.
Yeah.
So we touched on a lot of the characters. Did anyone have a favorite?
Well, Jessica Rabbit.
That's fair. I can't be mad about that.
I like the car.
The car was really
The
funny.
car had a good personality.
What do you think, Dan?
I'm going to use this quote that I used in our episode these other gentlemen were on, and it's animated, it's good.
Who's your favorite
That's
character?
I like the fact that the weasels had a lot of interaction on the screen and a lot
God,
of
the weasels are
movement,
really funny.
but they didn't really move a whole lot of physical things on the screen.
They knocked a couple things over, but they basically
Yeah.
interacted with Eddie.
Yeah. And I like the fact that one was a chain smoker and had like multiple cigarettes in its mouth.
The
The other one was like stoned or something because its eyes were just like stroby.
Was he the one in a
colors.
straight jacket all the time?
Yeah.
He was just crazy, dude.
And then there's one that had knives that would just throw them
Who
around.
I think
all the
was supposed to be
time.
Latino.
Yeah, I think so. And then the other, the
Had a-
head dude had like the gangster gold jacket.
And then the last one was a dum dum who had like a propeller cap on.
yeah, it's like, what do these represent? I mean,
Like
these
mafia,
are like mafiosos,
yeah.
but different
Yeah.
mafiosos.
Basically,
than what we're used to?
basically foolish mafiosos.
But they're fun. Well, at least one of them's smart.
Oh yeah.
But you might
But
be the only
but
one.
I gotta go Eddie Valiant. I'm just a bit. I love the name. I love that he's
I thought it was your favorite tune.
a favorite character.
I thought you meant tune.
Because I mean, I don't mind a Bob Hopkins running around without a shirt on. It's all.
Oh
good.
no, he's a quite a man if you're into that kind of man. The rounded hedgehog look.
Yes.
But just it's a great name. The fact he's just knocking out bottle. He keeps a bottle in his gun holster
Yes.
for that most of the movie, which
Instead of a gun.
yeah, which is funny. Like it's a kids movie. This man's drinking a lot.
Well, he's a wounded hero mourning the loss
Yeah.
of his brother.
Who I kind of wish we got to see a little bit of in like action. Like not just like a picture of him and then like
Oh, like a
reference.
flashback to
Yeah,
them
I
as
kinda wish-
crime solving
I
brothers.
get that we get that
Who came
noir.
from the circus, evidently.
Yeah,
Yeah.
their dad was a clown.
I was waiting for that to happen at the very end when it was revealed that the Christopher Lloyd character was
like
the-
seeing what
the
happened as they
two-
walk in and
Yeah.
get to drop on it, but then yeah.
Yeah, I was ready. I saw this a very long time ago, so
Considering
I
ho-
did not know. I couldn't remember exactly how it ended, but yeah, I was waiting for that.
Considering how little screen time the other patrons in the bar get, frankly, any other humans, they probably just didn't have the budget or wanted to bother with his brother. It's
Probably.
basically Eddie, Dolores, and Judge Doom, and then Arcade Maroon, Acme a little bit.
Yeah, they're on the screen for like less than 5 minutes.
Yeah,
I do
His
wanna-
focus is on Eddie and the tunes.
I mean, this movie has so much to talk about with the visuals, but I do want to mention the music
Oh my god!
for a
The
moment.
sound effects and the music are on point.
Right,
Yeah.
because like it's kind of, I don't want to say a send up, but there's so much that is an homage to the noir genre.
Absolutely, the muted trumpets.
Yep, muted trumpets, and like if you just heard only the music, like I would think this is like 1950s black and white.
Yeah,
French.
and like
until the cartoon crash in a.
Well, I mean, if I'd only heard the music. If I
Okay,
had
yeah,
to
but
hear
like
it.
Jessica
fair.
Rabbit's intro song.
Oh god, yeah.
is such a torch, smoking hot, bluesy.
The dame whose legs go all the way up, and she's gonna be trouble for me as you
It's
knock
like-
back on her scotch.
right.
That's like Mae West. Here we go, which is really awesome.
But yeah, the music is phenomenal. I think it's why this movie like did as well as it did. 'Cause it could have just been. There's been like live action with cartoon movies that are just trash. They're
You
just
mean like Team America World Police? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
no,
a
that's
great
all
movie.
puppets, baby.
That's puppets.
that's not cartoons.
It's no cartoons.
That's
That's real life.
Team America.
But no, there's movies they make for kids or like, let's just pump it out and just make money on the DVD sales or whatever, or streaming now. But this feels like they actually took their time and made a product they genuinely enjoyed. They wanted people to like.
They got great actors and actresses.
Yeah,
too.
and, well,
exactly.
And they wanted to push the medium a little bit.
Yeah.
And clearly they did. Mm-hmm. And it was very thoughtful. Like, what I really enjoyed about this movie was when Bob Hoskins went to Toontown. Even though he was a human being, he had to follow the physics of the cartoon world.
I fully forgot about that.
So like in an elevator, when it went up real fast, he flattened out. And when it stopped, he was flung to the ceiling and stuck to the ceiling.
And the classic cartoon bit, the droopy stayed the same.
Yes.
Like the operator's like, yeah, I'm fine. Your floor, sir.
And it must have been like a challenge to film and a challenge to pull that off. But like visually, that all works. Like, you as a viewer, you understand what is happening.
Yeah, he's like, now in this new world with new physical concepts, which we're familiar with because we've watched cartoons our whole lives.
Yes.
Right.
I am curious how a current era of children would handle it, because there's a lot of stuff that they don't. There's not
There's
phones.
no exposure.
There's no phones. The cartoons they're watching some of them are great, but they're nothing like this anymore.
Well, I mean, we weren't alive in 1947 either, Blake.
Right, but I was watching Looney Tunes as a 10-year-old.
Yeah.
Like, it was just on. It was a rerun. Now, I don't think it's HBO Max keeps dropping stuff. Like, it's just tough to find that stuff these days.
Yeah.
Again, there are great cartoons now, but it's nothing. It's less violent.
Nothing
There's
like that.
obviously no smoking or drinking. It's a whole different kind of set. It's a whole different genre.
There's not any hammer space going on.
Which
There
might
we
not
talked
be.
about. We've talked about before on a previous episode where you can pull something out of nothing.
Yeah,
in a
it's
cartoon
apparently
world.
a term like used in discussions about like animated like features. It refers to like when Bugs Bunny just pulls a hammer out from nothing and then hits Daffy Duck, and it's hammer space. It's where cartoons keep everything.
Well, he's got like an invisible pocket somewhere that we all
Yes.
understand.
It's called hammer space.
Hammer space, or to us D&D nerds, it's like, the bag of holding or the portable hole.
or the Blake Co. Industries lightly used bag of holding.
Yes. Yeah. So I think visually they did a really good job. There were some interesting sounds. You could tell it was soundstage, like it was not meant to be anything because they were on
of course.
a film lot.
Yeah.
Which makes sense for something set in. Was it L.A. or Hollywood? I keep forgetting where they actually said it was set.
You do know Hollywood is in LA, right?
I did not.
Hollywood is a neighborhood of LA.
I had no idea.
It's in it.
Cool.
Hollywood,
In it to win it.
LA, I am in you.
Oh, cool. All right.
Actually, it's Portland. I'm in Portland right now as I say this, but
Yes.
but
it's funny. The visuals that they did the soundstage for the buildings and stuff, and when they had the older cars, were very short. There wasn't a long chase scene. They were maybe a couple blocks worth of
a lot of cuts for chase scenes.
a
Yeah.
lot of stuff. So I know that they probably tried to keep that at a minimum because as expensive as that is, and then everything's just post production in the cartoon animation world.
Yeah.
I think they did a good job. The lighting was really interesting. We mentioned a few times
God,
where the shadows would interact and they would move with the
Yeah,
cartoons.
they kept making a point of knocking the hanging lamp, and then Roger's colors, Roger Rabbit, the titular character's light stayed the same on him. Like, someone had to spend extra time. I'm looking at Brian right now. Someone had to spend extra time to make sure it got done right. That's incredible.
Brian's awfully quiet over here.
He's getting flashbacks
Yeah,
when he worked on Roger Rabbit.
He's like, I did that shit. Ah!
I'm not an animator, but I did notice the craft of how they did this. There was a lot of attention paid to detail.
right.
And like I mentioned earlier in the episode, that having his clothes move with an animated figure that's not actually there. Like, I don't know how they did it. Was it wire work? Was it someone in a blue suit moving it? I don't know. I haven't read the trivia on it, but
I haven't seen
it was well done.
I haven't seen a lot of trivia on how they did it. I imagine some level of string work and
the
maybe
magic
light
of
blue.
movie making, Blake. That's how
Shut up,
they-
Aaron.
It
That's
should
not
be a
real.
mystery. It should be a mystery. You shouldn't know everything.
You want magic? Pay the writers. I said
doubt.
we at Movie and Beer support the writers' strike.
And the director strike and the striking.
Actors'
of
strike.
everyone in
Yeah,
general.
pay your people.
Yeah. Especially those streaming services. They don't pay.
You know who I
anybody.
love paying are brewers for delicious beers.
Yes.
I like when
Well-
they pay us.
Yeah. Or give us free stuff.
Yeah,
I like that too. Free stuff is nice.
I mean, these beers were generously given to us by our our good
neigh-
friends
neighborhood shop.
Tim and Petra over at Mac Wine Cellars. We're utilizing things that were provided to us. As I mentioned, these are a little older beers. They're not super fresh. The first one reflected that quite a bit and was super dinky. And
yeah.
the second one was just more classic and solid, not as hoppy, so it didn't suffer from the old age that happens to dinky beers. It just starts tasting worse.
Well, as we've learned, hops is a preservative.
It is. It'll keep it, but it doesn't mean it's going to taste good.
What was the first beer we drank? I genuinely can't remember.
It was
It is HenHouse.
Are you telling me Hollywood's in L.A.?
All right,
and
so
they're both in California.
What?
Yes.
What's a California?
HenHouse Brewing Company.
I want to go to there.
HenHouse Brewing Company out of Santa Rosa. Well, their main production facilities in Santa Rosa. They do have other locations, but HenHouse has been around a long time. This is the Stoked, which has the rooster is one of their main characters that they put on cans, with a whole lot of hop cones.
Dan,
and,
I'm not doing a bit. Are you saying stoked like I'm stoked about something?
No,
Stoked.
Stoked is the name of the beer.
Stoked is the name.
Right,
of
right.
the-
I thought I couldn't tell if you were saying stoked or stoked.
Stoke.
Okay. Sorry.
Sorry,
I was genuinely
Stoke.
confused.
Stoke.
Clean out your ears, you old stoat.
Stoke. So
That's a
this
goat,
is
isn't it? All right.
I don't
they
know.
class-
I don't know where LA is.
So this is a single hop pale ale citrus. So it's not high enough in alcohol to be an IPA, but it's super over hoppy. So again, pale ales and India pale ales is the only difference is the amount of alcohol in it. So this is 5.4%. This is a POG. So this is papaya, orange, and guava.
So is that
the
a-
focus of the hops? But it is all citra. So it's really super heavy in the dankness.
Is POG a normal term for beer? You
You'll
said
see it. Yeah, you'll see it. It's
So
it's
papaya. What were they? Again?
orange, and guava.
Are those are typical ingredients for beers like this, where they just know how they'll work?
That's the flavor profile that you're going to get when using those hops.
Well, Pog juice
There-
is really
there's-
popular in Hawaii. They actually sell it as a
Really?
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This
Okay.
There's no fruit in this
Orange-
beer. It is
orange and
just
guava.
hops that generate those similar flavor profiles. That's all it really is.
Interesting.
So this is a beer that they change periodically. I've had this before in the past where it wasn't quite so danky, but this one is a little older. The Citra is going to give you some of that really dry lychee passion fruit, and then it gets really dank. This, because it was not super cold, which is fine. It came out of the beer fridge in the garage.
Well, it's traditional, though. I mean, beer wasn't always.
It was not
fridge temp.
always more tepid. It's in the 50s, not the 30s.
Sorry, I'm reading here. When kept refrigerated, we are confident this beer will present as the brewer intended for up to 60 days.
Okay, is there a date stamp on the bottom? I don't see
Probably.
one. I don't see one.
Canned 9/6/22. So a little bit low for 60 days.
Yeah, we're looking at like 9 months.
Yeah.
If you ever come across one of our beers past an expiration date and then just bleep the rest of it.
You should read the whole marketing thing, though, Blake. Like,
Yeah.
do the radio voice.
That's really small type.
It
Stokes
is.
Pale Ale. No.
Oh God, not
No,
like
I can't
that.
do
you're being
Yeah.
Christopher Lloyd's character.
Yeah,
now.
no, it's really,
right.
I was
really
going for
small,
Roger Rabbit.
really small
Okay.
type. I mean, I can tell you that it's got a lot of citrus from this
Stoked
Citra.
Pale Ale is
No, I wanted to accept that as a
rotating
challenge.
a single pale ale. Each batch is made with a different hop variety, allowing us to experiment with new hops and processes.
Each batch has the same malt and yeast profile, letting the subtle differences between hops shine through. We highlight selections of hops we're excited about, and those we want to learn about, ... And you get to taste along with us, !
We believe that all beer should be enjoyed brewery fresh condition, and we insist on constant cold storage from our brewery to your hands.
Yeah, this was cold. Sword.
Government
It's just
warning,
old.
according to Surgeon General. Oh, nope, wrong part.
Yeah, no, it's just old. This is
I mean,
what happens when it's.
Is it
over-
bad that I thought it tasted fine?
No, I mean,
I finished mine, no problem.
I finished mine also. I understood what they were doing because it's just like super over hopped.
I didn't care for it.
Yeah,
That's
Brian was like,
reasonable.
nope, 2 sips and done, which is totally fine.
What threw you about it? Just the general flavor, or
Yeah, it was too heavily hopped for me,
yeah, that's
I
absolutely understandable.
I agree.
and just too bitter. And I
Yeah.
think a lot of the bitterness came from the age.
Yeah, it dried out. It dries out a bunch, and it's
Just like regular aging, you get more bitter as you get older.
yeah, like my
you
Aunt
do.
Gertrude, right?
That old battle axe.
so Blake got to pick out the second one that we did out of our collection of
Yay.
older beers, and this was Ruse Brewing.
Love a Ruse
Translator
Brewing.
Translator IPA. We've been there a few times. You had a hoodie from them.
It was my second favorite hoodie, which is only second because it fell apart. Now I have my Flophouse hoodie. I still wear it, but it's shredded.
I cannot read this type.
This type is so small.
We talk about this one here.
So so it's going to be a little crisp. I
can read it.
It's
all right.
60
Youthfulized.
IBU, 6% ABV. So this is an IPA because it's 6%.
American style.
It's an American.
Yeah,
style.
what does that mean, American style?
It's because there's British, there's English style IPAs, and then there's American style IPAs.
Oh, okay.
The American style IPA is the parent style to all subgenre styles of IPAs.
Is that? I thought originally it was the British were shipping it back and forth from between India.
So yes,
and that's why there's the I in the IPA.
Yeah, India, because they were making it in India to send
to
ships back.
Ships in India that wanted, like, to people in India that wanted to drink English beer.
The more hops, the more stable it was.
Okay.
But
I genuinely keep forgetting about that. That's
digress.
why it's called India Pale Ale. I say, looking at Brian as the film nerds, not the beer nerds, on the set of table.
So this is one of their core beers. They've been brewing it since they opened.
Oh, I didn't know that. I love a Ruse
It's
beer.
a classic West Coast IPA. That's why it's not super, super dank. It just has a nice aromatic. It's got Citra and Mosaic, which are two standard West Coast IPA.
That's probably why I liked it so much. I thought this matched the movie really, really well, and I really liked this beer. I was sad when my can was empty.
Yeah,
This is really tasty.
Didn't change a whole lot in the flavor profile as it warmed up. So this was a little colder when we opened it, and then it was like, oh, it's fine. It's a very solid beer that I guess you would say lingers well on the palate. It does have some dryness and some bitterness, but it's not off-putting.
It does not overstay its welcome.
Correct.
Yeah.
Brian, any thoughts?
I enjoyed this a lot more than the first one.
Yay!
A little bit less bitter, a little less hoppy.
Yeah.
Pleasant to drink while I'm watching a good cartoon.
I think
And Bob Hoskins.
And shirtless Bob Hoskins.
Shirtless.
I think I mean, we should be honest though, say that this one was a little colder when we drank it, and I think that might have helped a little bit.
Correct.
Yeah, but
That's a good point.
Cool.
I've still got a little left in the can, and I'm still enjoying it about the same amount.
And the other one, it did say the previous year in the stamping.
And it says,
This-
have it cold. If it's not cold, send us and we'll send the Pinkertons after it.
they're not
We'll
wizard-
send you the
Yeah.
weasels.
So this also has a date stamp on it from June of 22. So this beer
older.
This beer
This
is
one's
a year
older
old.
than the.
This
It's older
beer's-
than the other beer.
This beer, and just goes to show you, if it's a well-balanced, well-made beer, and it's refrigerated the whole time, it'll last.
It can hold up.
It'll
yeah.
hold up just fine.
Otherwise, it'll taste like dip.
Well, okay, not necessarily like dip, and we're not talking about like
I'm not
the
actually drinking
tobacco
turpentine.
dip.
Damn.
We're
damn,
talking
come
about
on.
from the movie the substance that would
Oh,
kill
that
a
dip.
tune.
I thought you meant like ranch dip.
I didn't know
Wow,
you said
okay.
dip.
Okay, so we
I
thought
knew what you were
tobacco. No, you do. You said tobacco. You said ranch, which I appreciate. What were you thinking?
You heard a CK.
Kip.
Yes.
Okay, so if you
Bob
know
Hoskins.
if you have old beers in your fridge and you want to get rid of them, you can definitely watch and drink. pretty
No,
much
donate them
anything
to
with this.
us at the podcast.
Yeah,
I drink your
well,
old
there
beer.
is that too.
I 100% thought you were saying give them to Blake.
I'll drink whatever.
He'll
except-
drink anything.
Except Miller Lite. It's still in the fridge. I might throw
There's
it.
two
I might-
cans of that.
I might pour it
still in
out
the
tonight.
fridge. We gotta get a hold of Steve and give him those beers. Here, have these.
I'll be here soon.
But Dan, what you were saying is if you got old beers in the fridge, Roger Rabbit is
An
a
old
fine
classic,
movie
fun,
to
yes.
wash them down with.
And if you don't have old beers, I'd say
Yeah, middle of the road
Some-
pale
some-
ale.
something with a little bit of flavor.
Actually, if you get some wild
Something with
turkey
character.
and you put a cold rock, just put a couple cold rocks in a glass.
I want my whiskey on the rocks.
That's
and I
right.
mean ice, not rocks.
I like that they added that he specified, but it was too late, and he still had just a glass of liquor with rocks in it.
Yes, and I'm not bad. I was drawn that way.
Ugh, gorgeous.
Yeah, there are some good one-liners in this. What was just? I know you know all the one-liners, or at least you should.
I know a bunch of one-liners.
What were they from this film?
I don't know.
There were some really funny.
I'm all scattered right now. I learned today that Hollywood's in LA. No, the fact I really enjoyed the what I point out that they mentioned 3 times. The weasel.
Laughing to death.
Yeah.
to
Because when the weasels start cackling, it's like, if you don't stop that, you're gonna laugh yourselves to death. And you think the first couple times, well, yeah, it's a thing people say. Like, you don't make your face will stick that way. And then Eddie gives up on his sourpuss attitude and goes back to being a wacky little dude.
From the circus.
Yeah.
From the circus, and he dances.
That's why he knows. That's why he knows the vaudeville. And knows how
And
to,
a lot of pratfalls and physical humor like the tunes.
Sing-
and makes
li-
them laugh. And as
singing
you
limericks.
said, why do the weasels have wings and go to heaven? And my response was, all dogs go to heaven.
But
They're not dogs.
weasels aren't dogs,
I know,
Dan.
but that,
so what's
kid,
cartoon hell?
Why do you want to rain on my parade like
Is
that?
Bugs Bunny going to hell? If they're bad, he's good, right? So, oh God, oh no.
There's some really good comics that talk about that. You know that, right?
Oh yeah, I'm aware.
Yeah.
You know, what else I'm aware of. Bugs Bunny technically dies in Space Jam 2 for a little bit.
Yes.
I'm spoiling it so you don't have to watch it.
Everyone's looking at you funny, like, what are you talking about?
I know about that from. I only know about that from.
All right,
podcasts.
we're on a tangent
Space
now.
Jam might be the other franchise where like animated characters interact with real.
Like,
But that was
there is
2000, wasn't it?
90 something. But Looney Tunes back in action with Brendan Fraser and Jenna. Oh, jeez. She played Dharma and Greg, I think.
Elfman? No.
Yeah, Elfman. Yeah,
okay.
yeah. They did a Looney Tunes live action thing.
And then there was the Smurfs, but we're not going to get into those.
Wait, the
Eh.
Smurfs were never live
They
action.
They had two
They
live
had-
actions.
Yeah, Neil Patrick Harris was in the movies.
Two live action.
They weren't
films.
good. I saw one of them
I didn't know
partway through, and I was
anything
like, "This
about
is
this.
the worst."
Yeah.
Wow. What
Yeah.
beer would you drink with that?
Poison,
Poised. really,
rat
really,
poison,
a really heavy barley wine or a stout that's at least 10%.
or a broken beer
maybe
bottle in my
mead.
eyeballs.
Or
A mead that'll put you to sleep.
A slow sipper that will just knock you out.
I had no idea
Scrolling to
this
the
was a thing.
tab on the top of the screen and selecting something else on the Plex.
Anyway, so lots of good things to say about this film.
I think as far as the beers, I think the Ruse, what was it called again?
A translator, I
The
think.
translator. If you get your hands on some and you want to really save it for a while, for like special, like if you're visiting from a different area of the country and you want to save it for a bit, it'll hold
Yeah.
for a good while. Perfect special occasion beer.
You could wait 9 months and then watch Who Framed Roger Rabbit with it.
You can wait 9 months and then watch 9 months.
But in general, dear listener, we would suggest drink your beer within 60 days
Yes.
because you never know.
If anything, drink it while you're walking on the 7-Eleven. They can't stop you. They're not cops.
Yeah. Well, if it's in a paper bag, they don't care.
That's true. But I don't want to waste paper.
I've seen that. Well, you could always just find like an old McDonald's bag or something and just like empty it out.
Nah, man.
Dan's giving up all his tricks.
No.
I'm pure green. I take my shirt off and just hold it in that.
Yes, let's not see that, please. Anyway, so
You're no Bob Hoskins.
you are
Oh,
not.
I'm no Bob Hoskins. I'm a
No,
Roger
you
Rabbit.
You are. You're funny. You're not cute.
Oh, damn, that's so hurtful.
Oh,
man.
we're getting personal on this.
All right.
hold
Well,
on.
this is the
Part
last
of-
episode for Blake on Who Framed Roger Rabbit, the podcast.
Part of Roger Rabbit's charm was that he's kind of cute in an annoying way.
No,
like
he's
that's
not.
what he's meant
Yeah,
to
me.
All right. So
I'll never find my
we better-
Jessica Rabbit.
As always, dearest listeners, the views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the hosts and not the podcast. And Dan, what's the other?
That's really good, though.
You got it.
You got most of it.
You got it. No, you got it. And I think if you don't hydrate,
All right, just heads up. If you don't hydrate, you'll dehydrate. Ha ha.
there you go.
That was really difficult. My throat hurts.
All right. So thanks for listening. Thanks for hanging in there. This is a fun episode. It's a great movie. You can watch it with kids. There's a lot of really good animation that occurs, and the kids will probably freak out if it's a younger kid that's never seen this kind of cartoon before.
It's kind of dark.
It's like, what is this?
what age is appropriate for this movie?
6 to 8.
Oh, that's a little younger than I was.
Yeah,
I was leaning towards
a little
10.
bit older.
I was
would've
leaning
said
towards 10.
Yeah, I was leaning 10, maybe.
Yeah, the young kids might get scared. There are some scary bits.
The young kids
I
might
like-
get bored by all the talk about the freeway.
Exactly. They're gonna
Right.
get really be like, what?
I remember being a kid watching when he walks into the bar and there's no tunes. Like, why am I watching this movie? Like, where are the cartoons?
Where's the cartoons? All right. Well,
Sorry, Aaron, I cut you off.
yeah, it's all right.
We're like an interstate. You cut me off.
Yeah. So remember that the Clover company that's buying everything looks like a 4-leaf interstate clover intersection.
like a highway closure.
Is that in Hollywood or LA?
Is both. I don't think
What?
there's any freeways in LA.
All over California.
So-
What's a California?
So Dwight D. Eisenhower, when he was fighting the Nazis,
The guy
in
on the
World War
quarter?
II, he saw the Autobahn in Germany and realized how useful it was for military application, and he wanted to build a similar system in the United States, so that the military could move around easily if the United States was
And
ever
put down the
invaded.
hippies.
And it just happened to also be convenient for commerce, and thus the interstate system had its genesis. Like that's a real thing. It was inspired.
Aaron, you're
by
talking like a guy who
spent-
owns a bucket of dip.
And there's a whole lot of money
It's
that
ranch.
got spent. Oh, geez. Here we are.
Yeah.
There
All
we
right.
go.
You are from the Midwest.
All
Anyway.
right. So we're going to close this off because we're getting way off.
Yeah,
on
you really
tangents
shut me
now.
down. I don't have the
all
brakes
right.
are
So-
brakes are broken.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Until next time, keep yourself safe. Watch out for cartoon bullets.
Thank you guys for putting up with me. I love you so much. This
This
is
is-
Blake saying bye.
This is Brian. Thanks for hanging in there. Bye.